All right, let's dive into a play that ends with a single sound, the slam of a door. But this wasn't just any door slam. This was the slam that was, heard around the world, shaking 19th century society to its very core. We're talking, of course, about Henrik Ibsen's masterpiece, A Doll's House. So, think about this for a second. Can a perfect home actually be a prison? I mean, this question is really the key to the whole story, because when we first meet the Helmers, their home looks like the absolute picture of happiness. But, as you're about to see, what happens behind closed doors, well, that's a whole different story. You hear these little pet names Torvald calls his wife Nora, my little skylark, my little squirrel, and you think, aw, that's kind of sweet, right? But listen closely. They might sound affectionate, but they're really, instruments of control. It's his way of saying, you're not my equal. You're my cute little pet, something to be looked at and managed. Okay, so let's step into this perfect doll's house ourselves. Let's pull back the curtain and see what's really happening behind all those pretty Christmas decorations. So when the curtain rises, everything looks perfect. I mean, picture perfect. You've got this beautiful Christmas tree, Nora's humming away, not a thing is out of place. It's this perfectly staged performance of what a respectable middle-class family should look like. And in their world, reputation, oh man, reputation was everything. And this right here, this is the core of it all. The whole Helmer family life is built on this gigantic gap between what's real and what's for show. You have this happy, bubbly wife who is actually just consumed by anxiety. You have this morally upright husband who's really just obsessed with what other people think. It's a house built not on love, but on a pile of secrets. But you know how secrets are. They have a way of coming out. And there's one dangerous secret that's about to bring this whole perfect performance crashing down. Turns out, this doll's house is built on some seriously shaky ground. So, what is she hiding? I mean, you see her sneaking macaroons, laughing with her kids, but underneath all that, Nora is carrying this massive, soul-crushing burden. A secret so big it could absolutely destroy her, her family, everything they've built. Here it is, a secret forgery. Years ago, to save her husband's life, Nora took out a loan. But to get it, she forged her father's signature. Now think about that. She committed a crime, but she did it out of love. It's this incredibly brave act, right? But in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of her society, it makes her a criminal. And that one act has put her in a terribly vulnerable spot. Now, to really get why this is such a huge deal, you gotta understand their world. This idea of bourgeois morality, it was super strict. A man's reputation, his honor, that was everything. Any little whiff of scandal, especially about money, it was basically social suicide. You know, it's kind of like the pressure today to have that perfect life on social media, where one wrong move can feel like your whole world is collapsing. And yeah, you guessed it. A secret like this, it's not gonna stay buried forever. The walls are starting to close in, and Nora's perfectly crafted little world is beginning to crack. This is where the plot really starts to tighten like a vice. The man who knows her secret, Krugstad, is about to get fired from Torvald's bank. So what does he do? He threatens to tell Torvald everything unless Nora saves his job. All of a sudden, she's backed into a corner, totally trapped. That secret isn't just a secret anymore. It's a ticking time bomb. And this pressure cooker situation leads to one of the most iconic scenes in all of theater. To distract Torvald and just delay the inevitable, Nora performs this frantic, wild dance called the Tarantella. And believe me, it is way more than just a dance. It's like all her panic and desperation are exploding out of her right there on stage. And just look at the difference in how they see it. Torvald's just sitting there thinking, oh, isn't my little skylark charming? What a fun little performance for me. But for Nora, this is a dance for her life. She's desperately trying to stop her entire world from falling apart. They're in the same room, but they could not be further apart. Well, the delay tactic doesn't work forever. The collapse is coming. This is the climax of the play, the moment the secret is finally out. And in the ruins of her old life, something new, or someone new, starts to awaken. So when Torvald finds out, what's his reaction? Does he say, "Thank you for saving my life"? No, he says this: "No man would sacrifice his honor for the one he loves." It's all about him. He's not worried about her. He's horrified for his own reputation. In that single moment, the fantasy of the loving husband just evaporates. And for Nora, hearing that, it's like a lightning bolt of pure, painful truth. She'd been hoping for a miracle, that he would protect her, maybe even take the blame, but it was all a fantasy. She suddenly sees that her whole life has been a performance. She wasn't a wife or a person. She was a doll. First her father's doll, and now her husband's. And this is it. This is the moment everything changes. She says, "I believe that I am first and foremost a human being." Wow. She's throwing off all the labels, wife, mother, doll, and claiming the only one that really matters. She's a human being, and she has to figure out what that even means. So, this awakening, it leads to one of the most shocking, most controversial endings in the history of drama. The echo of what she does next is still felt today. She makes a decision that is just earth-shattering for the time. She leaves. She walks out on her husband and her children to go and educate herself. You have to understand, for a woman to do this in the 19th century was completely unthinkable. It was a total rejection of everything she was told was her sacred duty in life. And it all comes down to one single action, one sound. The last thing you hear in the play is the slam of the front door. That one sound was like a cannon shot, signaling a massive break from the past. It literally changed theater forever, paving the way for plays that questioned everything about society. So, the legacy of A Doll's House is just huge. It's a cornerstone of feminist critique, a masterpiece of realism that just ripped the mask off of societal hypocrisy. And more than anything, it champions this idea that our first duty isn't to society, but to ourselves, to become our own person. And that kind of brings us full circle, doesn't it? Ibsen wrote this play a long, long time ago, but it still hits so hard. It makes you wonder, what are the dollhouses of today? What are the subtle expectations, the unspoken rules, the roles we play that keep us from being our true selves? It's a powerful question to think about. What modern dollhouses still need to be escaped?